Welcome back to Observing the Sabbath. I am your host, Nathaniel Mullen. I'm joined once again by Johnny Gifford. Johnny, thank you for being here.
Nathaniel, thank you for having me.
You know, it is the deepest and most humbling honor and privilege to have you on this channel with me.
Well, the same could be said about being a guest on the most prestigious of channels, Observing the Sabbath, where we get to observe the Sabbath.
Absolutely. We get to observe the Sabbath for small periods of time with many months spread out in between, which is exactly how I like to observe the Sabbath. But anyways, we are continuing on through Sabotage. We have done Hole in the Sky. We did Don't Start Too Late. We did Symptom of the Universe. And now we are doing Megalomania. And this is, we're just both looking at the time. This song is 9 minutes and 42 seconds, which maybe if you're wanting to count on the album Black Sabbath, if you're wanting to do like a Bit of Finger / Sleeping Village / Warning all as one song as opposed to breaking it up, putting that aside, since those could very easily be broken up, or NIB and Behind the Wall Sleep, Megalomania has to be the longest single song that Black Sabbath has at 9 minutes and 42 seconds. But that just makes for all the better. I will take my Sabbath as long as Sabbath wants to give me it. So, and it'll be interesting to see, do we feel like it's overstaying its course as we listen to this song, or does it feel like, no, this is the perfect amount of time for this song to go on for? So, let's just jump right in. Do you want to just jump right in and listen to Megalomania?
Yeah, we shouldn't waste any time with a behemoth of a song like this.
Absolutely. Let's just dive right in. This is Megalomania. And now.
I love the way that this song feels like the ending, the fading out of Symptom of the Universe feels like it just goes right into this like flawlessly. There's a little bit of acoustic guitar, you know, it's a little bit laid back, a little bit stripped back. It feels like the two go into each other very well. And then there's like that delay there too, which is cool in the vocals.
Absolutely. This definitely does have the cohesiveness of like, what a great A-side to a record, by the way. Hole in the Sky, and then Symptom of the Universe, and then this, like, it all flows super well. And I love...
Go ahead. If you hear the vocals, there's like some reverse reverb. It just makes him sound like some sort of ghostly figure. And then,
it works perfectly.
Last song,
I love this whole
It does. Last song was like dipping into glam rock, right? This song dipping into doom metal. And like, obviously, neither of those genres really exist yet, but they will. And all of those artists love Black Sabbath, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of people attribute the original song Black Sabbath to being the first doom metal song ever created. And then Megalomania kind of dips into it here. I love this whole sound, though. Like, you have so many different layers to this right now. It's very... and it doesn't feel overly produced. It just works for the vibe of the song.
Yeah, I feel like they stay with their live sound in a song like this, and the last song. You can really hear like their cohesiveness of being able to play together, play live. And you hear that in this song, but then you also have like the way he says "obsessed" a bunch of times. That's all done in production. That's a production element. That's not a live element. And so it's just such a nice balance. Once again, I know I've said this before, but it's such a beautiful balance between like a cohesive live sound mixed with these like cool production elements. Like there's that reverse reverb on his vocals again, and that's something you can do live with like pedals or board effects or whatnot. But it's just like those little embellishments that make it just that much better.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you were just saying, and I think this is something you can, like, it's not outside of the realm of possibility of doing it live. It won't sound exactly the same way, but you can do this live, And I think that's what ultimately kind of makes it work, is that it doesn't feel like it's outside that realm of possibility.
Mm-hmm. And with like,
it just.
Oh no, you go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I just love the sound of this. Like, it just feels like there's so many different sounds sort of colliding and kind of morphing into each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of, it feels like it's kind of ramping up and building and building and building to what we're gonna ultimately get in this upcoming part of the song.
And that colliding and ramping up, the colliding of many different elements kind of follows along with the lyrics too, just based on this like megalomaniac person who's kind of like a split personality. It's like, every aspect of them is coming together. And
then you got the cowbell.
The cowbell is so funny, but it still works. It's silly.
It is. Well, I mean, it also kind of makes me think of like when you have the I'm forgetting the name, the shaker thing in NIB. What's it called?
Like a maraca?
Whatever.
I don't remember exactly. Was it like a maraca or a tambourine
whatever.
Or I don't know.
Tambourine. That's what it was. I knew it started with a T. You got the tambourine in NIB, and then you have they kind of bring in these instruments sometimes to kind of spruce things up, and I like the cowbell there.
So, all right, now these vocals here. Who's doing the backup vocals? Do you know? Is it just like gang vocals? Is it all of them?
I'd imagine it's Ozzy, and they just double track him. I don't know for sure.
It sounds like a totally different voice, but I know he has very large vocal range regardless.
Well, I know that once we get into the writ, you have that whole part in the opening where you have all the different laughing voices and like the augmented voices. So I think my guess is, and I could be wrong, but my guess is just they augmented Ozzy's voice and he kind of did that sort of lower pitched voice.
That's a good point. It does sound like it could be pitched down just based on like the like kind of uncanniness of the quality of the voice.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that "Sting Me" at the end of the chorus. I just think of what do they say during one of those? It's like "smoking" or something. No, that's something different. But
yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, that I think in "Killing Yourself to Live," they go "smoke it, getting high."
Yeah, it reminds me of that. Yeah.
Yeah, they have these nice little buttons for all these parts.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have, I think they have like "suck me," which for a long time I thought they were saying "fuck me," but no, they say "suck me."
I close enough.
I think they were saying it in a way to try to make it sound like that without actually saying it, so that they wouldn't get in trouble.
I see.
But I
and then
love
this guitar solo is just like phenomenal. Like the tone of it. It's like so multi-layered, and like some of the layers are just clean distortion. Some of them are just like really heavily like flanged or phasered or something to just like give it that warbly modulating sound, and they just like stack on top of each other so well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a well-constructed song, and for it being as long as it is, I don't feel like it's like run its course. It keeps finding new ways to be, while doing the classic thing that Sabbath does of kind of jumping around to different parts. It does that while also still feeling fresh and unique and keep consistently doing new things. There we go.
There it is.
But also just this whole part, this whole riff is awesome. Just this bit. It kind of feels a little bit in line with Symptom of the Universe, tonally.
And I heard during that little guitar break, there was a little bit of that like flangered guitar layer hidden in the background, which I've never noticed until now. Just little embellishments like that. It's just so much attention to detail in these songs.
Yeah, and the lyrics are kind of going back into the fantasy elements a little bit too.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. And Ozzy's voice is great here as well. It's different. Like it's different from what he did on Symptom of the Universe, but it fits. He's not going so much for like the emotion of it or the that he is for the second half of Symptom, but he's kind of upping the pitch a little bit in his voice, and it kind of works for this type of song.
Yeah, especially just based on like the more anger he's feeling in the chorus, based on the previous verse. And then the cowbell just is very much just counting into this like outro. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, everyone ready?
Yeah. And this whole latter part, this whole closing part, we're at almost 2 full minutes of this whole part is just great. Because it's just building and building and building and building. It's phenomenal.
I love like the heavy tones that can just kind of sustain in the background with like just the rockin' riff on top of it. Great guitar layering as always.
Yeah, I love this. This might be my favorite part.
I forgot about the strings too. Yeah, it's a really nice like kind of arc throughout this entire outro.
I would love to have seen them play this live.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a song they would do live necessarily, but this would have been phenomenal to see them do it live.
And despite like the first, I don't even know, third of this song being very doomy, the rest of the song does not feel like that at all. It's just they're totally different songs.
Yeah,
but still,
and Thrill
I still
of It
think
All
it's
kind of has that
incredibly
to it as
cohesive.
well. And this feels epic. Like it feels almost like orchestral in a way, but it's not.
Yeah, based on the different parts, the way that they're moving and like harmonizing with each other in different ways. Sometimes they cross paths, sometimes, then they diverge. That's a very like symphonic way of writing harmonies, I think. That's like what classical music is.
Yeah. So I absolutely love the whole build up. You're building, and then it kind of hits that peak, and then it kind of comes down. They could have very easily faded out, but I kind of like the ringing as it goes out.
I do too. There's a couple more cowbells at the end there too.
Yeah. Megalomania, great song. Not quite Symptom of the Universe quality, in my opinion at least. But Megalomania, I think, is fantastic. It's very emblematic of what we were talking about with Symptom, that we were alluding to for the rest of the album, of having these stark changes, tonal changes, like right abruptly in the middle of the album, or in the middle of the song rather. And I think that's sort of a motif they kind of have throughout their whole album, and I just think it works so well. They every time that they do it, they manage to make it work so well. And then all the different elements that they're bringing into the song, bringing in the cowbell, bringing in the sort of pitched down Ozzy backtrack, if it is in fact Ozzy, bringing in all these different layers and all these different things that they're doing to kind of make all these different parts of this song sound unique and kind of give it sort of like a ghostly vibe to it, if you will. It really all comes together and works so well, and it's not overproduced. It doesn't feel like they're really like, we have this whole big switchboard of everything that we could possibly do in the studio. Let's just start playing around with knobs and seeing what we can do. It all feels rooted in trying to create a distinct sound for the song, and not just a sound, but a feeling and a tone. And every decision that they make to kind of go beyond just what they're able to kind of do themselves is all rooted in that sort of desire to make it have that feel to it, that tone. And I think that's where they ultimately succeed, and where maybe other artists kind of fail when they're just like, oh, well, we can do this, so let's do that, when you don't necessarily need to do it. They root it in how can we deliver on the best tone and sound and feel for the song.
Yeah, and every one of those little parts kind of it feels like it has a purpose too, why there's like some sort of effect there. Like for this song, for example, the way that, that reverse reverb is coming in, the way that it's layered, it feels like, Ozzy's playing a character, not only one character, but like a few different characters that are also kind of the same person, different perspectives. It just all really feels like all of those layers and all those little effects actually mean something to the way that he's singing. Sorry about the car that just passed by. I hope you heard that.
No problem. Yeah, and I think it also kind of foreshadows a little bit the "Am I Going Insane" part, where you have that song and then you kind of go into the laughing, which leads you right into the writ. So that they kind of, which I didn't really think about this until we started really diving into this album, how they kind of have little parts of the album earlier on that foreshadow latter parts of the album. And really, I think looking at this has to be probably one of their most consistently produced albums. Because, like, Black Sabbath, the album, feels consistent because it was their live set, and so it has that sort of that fall through all the way through the album. Same could be said for Paranoid. But looking at how Sabotage is constructed, it's constructed so well and it flows so well, and you have all these different elements that are being set up and paid off, and it really feels like a very cohesive piece as a whole, as a one.
Yeah, I totally agree. And what better way to end the A side with that, like, behemoth too? It's just such a cohesive A side to that album.
Absolutely. Now, I know a lot of people out there, I have read a lot of criticism that there are people who adore the A side of Sabotage and then aren't big fans of the B side. And as we get into the latter half of Sabotage, I do have some criticisms of certain parts of the B side of Sabotage, which I'll go more in depth on as we get to them. But I think the A side is phenomenal. Sabotage as a whole, I think, is a great album. And I think Megalomania is a really, really good song. Not enough people talk about. So anyways, those are all my thoughts. Johnny, did you have anything else you wanted to add about Megalomania?
No, I think I've just about covered all of what I had to say.
Wonderful. Well, anyways, that concludes all of our thoughts on Megalomania. I want to know from you guys, what are your thoughts on the song? Do you agree with a lot of what we're saying? Do you have differing points of view? And what are some songs that you're still looking forward to as we enter into the B-side of Sabotage? Leave all of your thoughts in the comment section below. Well, once again, I'm Nathaniel Molnar. I'd like to thank Johnny Gifford for being here, for joining me to talk about this song. Johnny, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So make sure to like, make sure to comment, and make sure to subscribe for more content. And stick with us as we continue on through the rest of Sabotage, and we'll get to all the ones. And I believe the next one up is the, by far, most underappreciated Sabbath song ever made, ever to grace people's ears, which is The Thrill of It All. And I cannot wait to talk about that song. So until then, until we discuss Thrill of It All, thank you for watching.